down to the south as our blue Zerg. Representing Virtus Pro, it is Slivko. And up to the north, we have our red Protoss. Representing, well, himself, as well as Global Esports Management, it's Mr. MC.
All right, welcome to the first game of 2014, the Europe Premier League, as MC says, good luck, have fun to Slivko. And we mentioned Slivko, he played in all 3 seasons in 2013 and was always finishing in the round of 32. Never broke to the live shows in the round of 16. But MC had an interesting 2013 when it came to the WCS, when it came to the World Championship Series, because he actually switched regions, because originally, of course, he was playing in Korea, playing in the GSL. In 2013, he said, you know what, I am going to Europe, baby. And he's got a suitcase, he's got his plane ticket, and he went off to Europe. Yeah. He came to Germany, he switched regions, which means he had to go through Challenger in Season 1, and then he qualified for Premier League in Season 2 and Season 3, and got back-to-back second places, went to both season finals, went to BlizzCon, and wasn't super happy with his performances, even though you look at it and you say, well, that's pretty good. 2 second-place finishes, yeah. You went to both season finals, you went to BlizzCon, but MC is a born winner. He wants to win, he wants the glory, he wants to be out there, and the 2014, I'm pretty sure I can bet money on it. I would eat a hat, Kalaris, if MC wasn't to win a Starcraft tournament this year.
How early in our previous Premier seasons did you say you would eat a hat? This is quicker than I think last time, actually. It was during the MVP thing, I think. So you got to be careful about that, Sean. You got to be careful. But as you can see already here, Slivko scouted out his opponent very, very quickly to see exactly what was up. And behind that, he actually went for hatchery first. So he's opening up quite economically. And on Heavy Rain, you can get away with this, especially since he sent this drone out and came straight on back very fast. So Slivko being a bit mindful as to what MC's up to here.
Yeah, and he knows that with a gateway expand here, that there's definitely potential of early aggression come out from MC. And MC's recent playing trends on the ladder are definitely aggression focused in the early stages. He's taken a couple of lessons away from San, who likes to go for 4-gate pressure, 3-gate pressure to put on, just kind of rise the temperature a little bit in this series in the get-go. So definitely that kind of process should be what Slivko's going through right now.
Yeah, and with MC scouting out now, having a look around, and probably with him setting up, technically a bit of aggression, but also trying to, expand behind this, there's prime opportunity for him to go for something like a gateway play. If he wanted to, the pylon at the back, he could even put a 4th gateway down there, which is something that we see very, very commonly out of Protoss, who take on and adopt that sand style. And this Zealot, well, he's certainly on a mission here, Sean.
Yeah, wave pointed across the map immediately, see if he can get a bit of damage done here, but not looking overall to do too much. MC has decided to throw down a second gas here, back in his main base. So with the second gas coming, this pushes us to believe that he isn't going to be aggressive early on, but that's information that Slivko is yet to find out about.
He's even using this probe to buffer as well and using it for combat. So probe and a Zealot is actually a little bit more annoying than just the Zealot alone.
Doesn't want to lose a drone here.
Yeah, if he does lose just one, then that will be a bit of a blow to him.
Yeah. Slivko's playing this really well. He's not buckling to the pressure and isn't building unnecessary Zerglings, just adding on more drones. That was played well.
And this Nexus is just about to finish up in the end. So MC now playing this out as standard can get, getting a sentry out for the defense. So there's certainly a great opportunity here for MC to transition on. He's banking up the gas as well. That tech choice might come in very quickly.
3 gateways have been thrown down.
Well, I wasn't expecting 3 to be thrown down at the front.
Yeah, and that's got to be alarm bells straight away here for Slivko, who's starting to build Zerglings now and will want to be looking around for a pylon. But even though there's 3 gateways there, and that is MC's more used style, let's see what he's really going to be using his gas on. He's got 1 sentry out and another sentry being made. Slivko goes in and sees the second gas and chrono boost into the Nexus here. So he's got to be thinking, well, wait a minute, why has he gone up to 4 gateways here? Is it going to be a more sentry-focused push? Is he really going to delay his tech here? Slivko is going to throw down a Roach Warren for safety precautions.
But in the end, if this isn't him going for some 4-gate aggression, this was all anticipated by MC to say, well, I know you've probably got an Overlord at the front. You're going to end up seeing these gateways. So I'm going to try and maybe tech off the back of this and just play out the game further and just try and trick you out at the very beginning.
Yeah, he's warping in a lot of sentries here. A lot of sentries.
Interesting.
Doesn't necessarily mean he'll go for an attack. He could very easily fall back on a 3rd base here, but we'll see what choice MC wants to make. Zealot sentry here. Obviously not very good against Zergling and Roach, so we'll find out how this is going to shape up for MC. Slivko pokes at the front door and sees all these units. He's got all the information so far in this game. He's seen that there's no probe around anywhere.
Yeah, this is all lining up to just look like a bit more of a macro-based focus here from MC, because right now, well, the Zerglings actually put forwards and they try and get themselves a Zealot, but in the end they don't get the pickup.
Well, it's still a lot of Zealots and Sentries here. Remember, he can always move down, and there's the photon, the Mothership core there for a recall, possibly. He's still adding on more and more units here.
And he's going to move out into the middle.
Slivko checks the army size. He's like, oh, it's kind of big.
Yeah.
He may start some roaches now. Well, he's got 5 about to pop out.
And he leaves a Zergling smartly at that third base to make sure if it were to go down off the back of this push, then he would know. So he could go straight back to droning. But as it stands, this is still moving across the map, and that Zergling's going to spot it once again.
But there are quite a few units here. The force fields are going to have to be critical, but as we all know and love MC, we know that his force fields are good. But there's a lot of units coming out here for Slivko. I really don't think that MC is going to be able to achieve that much with this.
Yeah, this is a strong position that Slivko's in with that amount of roaches. And there's actually no probes being
already
made
picks off one sentry, 2 sentry. A great start to this fight for Slivko. He's seen everything so far in this game.
Especially since the first sentry actually had quite a lot of energy, so this is all right for him. He's not doing too badly. He needs to keep a still one Zergling, though, positioned at his opponent's third base. Look at this, though. Slivko is setting up for a flank. This could be very, very good for Slivko. Oh, wait, is it just a run-by, actually? I mean, he has options, right? He could go for the run-by or the flank, and it's going to be hard to go for the run-by.
He's got so many roaches here to defend this. This isn't going to be very difficult for him to defend. Slivko's found himself in prime position here. We already see the robotics facility coming in here for MC. He's going to have to fall back away from this. He cannot look to pursue this. But, of course, he's keeping his opponent's drone count kind of low, but we do see here and there a couple of drones squeezed out from MC. From Slivko, who is going over to the infestation pit.
Yeah.
But still, with this amount of roaches, Zealot Sentry won't do anything to this, really.
Mr. MC just sends out a few Hallucinated Phoenix to have a look around, and he sees that infestation pit instantaneously at the natural. So that's a good pickup for him in terms of knowing exactly what's going on. He has Immortals in production, and there's still not been any probes made for quite a while. He made an extra 3 during all of this, but that's it, Sean. This is kind of interesting. I'm curious as to what he's actually going to do with this.
Well, he may just go over towards an Immortal push with this.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think he's going to have to try and ferry those Immortals over with a Warp Prism, because if he goes on ground, those Zerglings are going to start being very, very... Oh, actually, he's warping some sentries there for the escort, I guess.
Interesting, though. We do have the Hive being morphed in. After the infestation pit was used, he could have gone to infestors, he could have gone to swarm hosts, but he's chosen the Hive here, which leads us to believe that we are going to see Vipers being used. So what Slivko's going to look to do is hold the front wall, get to Vipers, and then all the Immortals, if to be used, he's just going to drag them over. He's going to bring them to the Roach army, which is a big, big problem usually with Zerg faces an attack like this. How do you get to the Immortals? We saw Liquid Hero do that very thing this weekend. And there Slivko spots and gets into a fight here. Doesn't really manage to pick off that much. I'm not too sure if that was wise to do that. He wastes a lot of force fields.
Yeah, but those units are going to get over there quite easily. There's a few more force fields left in this, so the Roaches could be cut off, but they're going to try and snipe out these Immortals.
That's big!
Oh, actually being able to pick off at least one of them with those Roaches is very, very nice indeed. And another one will get weakened, but aside from that, that's a good move.
That's nice.
Whoa, and he's actually just going to go for the front.
No.
Don't go. That would be crazy.
Yeah, he used a couple of force fields there, but the Hive is done. So we're actually going to see Vipers made pretty fast in here, and like I mentioned, if he gets rid of the high damage output units, which is the Immortals, this attack can never work from MC.
Yeah.
Slivko's playing this out really well in game number 1 here, but MC's changing things up, changing the pace of it. He's got a Warp Prism out now, which goes undetected.
Yeah. Also, it's important to note there's actually 2 holes in this wall from MC just then. The Stalkers came from the top through that little hole next to the cliff, as well as through that Zealot, so it's not fully walled off right now.
Oh, and Slivko sees his opponent looking to expand here.
But I've got to ask, Sean.
The Warp Prism?
I've got to ask, aside from this Warp Prism harassment, this is a very, very late third base here from MC, considering the position.
Yeah. But it's also, you know, Slivko's economy's not the best either. It's still 53 drones, just now adding on 10 extra. He hasn't even taken the gases on his third, so when it comes to economy, they're pretty similar. It just comes to the actual army size, which is quite heavily in favor of Slivko.
And technically, if you look at it like this, MC forced out a huge committal of mid-tier units from his opponent, right?
Yep.
So
and has a lot of force fields.
Yeah.
Has a couple of Immortals. Is going over towards +2 and probably Blink. And the Warp Prism's still there. So if Slivko moves out, the Warp Prism will move in.
And here it goes already for a small push. He realized where his opponent's army was because of the pylon going down in the middle, but still he's defended.
There's roaches there, so MC looks for a different angle, different approach.
And he's not going to find one, I don't think, at the front because he does have quite a strong army here. Unfortunately, no anti-air, though, so that Warp Prism kind of goes uncontested.
And through seeing just the sheer amount of roaches here, MC did get the Robotic Spade, but doesn't really want to add Colossus at the moment. He's quite happy chunking out Immortals into this, dealing out fantastic damage against the roaches. But we do have a switch up from Slivko. He's got 1-1 melee upgrades coming in, and the Spire thrown down. Would not be surprised to see the Greater Spire come from this, a likely option.
Yeah, and MC is going to have to keep an eye on things with that. Of course, the Warp Prism is going to get some information through aggression. Blinding Cloud does land on a lot of this. After the Force Fields, will zone this out for now. And again, I think, you know, we pointed out before, he's stuck on all of these mid-tier units. Slivko kind of has to trade these away if he can keep advancing on fourth.
Yeah, but he can never do damage to MC here. Yeah. Because MC sat back quite defensively. He's got a lot of force. He's got 4 Immortals in here. And now the Swarm Hosts do start to pop out.
Uh-oh. Well, we could be here for a while, depending on how well Slivko has.
Yeah, but MC's not gonna play this anymore passively. He's already realized his opponent's trying to take a 4th base. He's gonna look to tech away from roaches. They're useless at this point. Yeah. With good force fields and a high Stalker and Immortal count, they're not gonna be able to take very many good fights here, and that will leave MC to play much more aggressive from this point.
And no upgrades. He's committing to the melee upgrades right now, so those roaches aren't really gonna have the firepower to deal with +2 as well as Blink. That's gonna finish up very soon here.
So
for MC.
MC's gonna come down, cancel the 4th, and we'll probably be content with that. If he can take a good fight, then he'll do that too, as you see.
Throws a lot of force fields down, zoning out tons of those roaches at the back. The Blinding Clouds here at the front, though, will force MC to micro on back. Meanwhile, Zealots in the 3rd base. He realizes there, once again, through this aggression, that the Greater Spire is around.
And he's going to get the 4th base, and MC also sees the Greater Spire, as you say, on the way, so he knows that his opponent's kind of weak at the moment. It's the optimal timing for MC to be aggressive. Pick off the 4th. He can even continue to march forward. There's so many force fields, so many Immortals, and so many Stalkers. It's only Roach and Zerglings.
Yeah.
As long as he keeps cutting out the army well, there's no burrow, there's no tunneling claws. He can't go under the force fields.
And all of these upgrades right now, even though they finished, there's nothing that they're benefiting from. He has 2 Zerglings out on the field right now, so these roaches are vanilla 1-1 roaches being barraged at by these Stalkers. Although Blinding Clouds are soaking up a little bit of the damage being done from them here, this is just too strong a force here from MC.
MC realizes that too, and he's just powering through. He says, I've built up a big army, bro.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? This
was a fantastic play from MC, keeping his opponent on mid-tier units for so long. Yes, the Greater Spire is going to finish up, but there's no Corruptors to morph into Broodlords, as Slivko has always been on the defensive foot for the past 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, and MC has told me many a time that he's one of the best Protoss vs. Zerg players, and, well, he makes quick work of Slivko coming into this second half of this game. It looked kind of slow, kind of even the Viper's getting picked off there on the left-hand side, and Slivko looks all but defeated. He's trying his best to stay in this game, but there's nothing he can do against that force. GG.
Left-hand corner are Blue Zerg, representing Virtus Pro. It is Slivko. And down to the bottom right, we have our Red Protoss, representing Global Esports Management. It's MC.
MC. Minchel. Jang Minchel. I asked him if he wanted to go to Korean barbecue tomorrow night.
Yeah? Yeah. Did he say yes?
I don't know, because I left home before I could answer. Or he could answer. I don't know.
We spend a lot of time in Korean barbecue, Sean.
It's meat. Everyone loves meat.
Yeah.
So Frost here, a 4-player map, which means you can spawn in the bottom, as both of these players have, but you also could spawn on the other side of the map to the top left or to the top right. And of course, these players do not know where each other has spawned, which is why we see Slivko's Overlord going up north here. But Slivko has always been a player to try to get smaller advantages with his build order, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to go for a double hatch here against MC, who is obviously much less likely to open up aggressively on a 4-player map, considering that he doesn't know where his opponent is. So we'll see if Slivko tries that. I'd be surprised if he went spawn and pull first, let's say that.
Yeah.
Especially against a player as good as MC, you want to try and get as much of an advantage as you can with your opening build order.
You gotta be careful though about a triple hatch before pull on this map, because you don't know where the spawning locations are. If Slivko, for example, were to go all the way down here and take his 3rd base, then he realizes all of a sudden that he's really near his opponent, and he's like, oh no. So
yeah, just 1 hatchery is a good build. 2 hatcheries risky, so it depends on if he wants to risk it. sometimes. And in a position like this, some players do, but some players are like, all right, I'll just get away with what I can get away with, which is going to be the hatchery first into spawning pool. If he had gone through hatcheries, cannon rushes, gateway attacks, even if MC was to go Nexus or Gateway first, he could very easily switch up into a cannon rush because of how delayed the spawning pool is. But in these positions, as you can see, MC's opened up for a really good build himself, a very greedy build himself here, even potentially expecting 3 hatcheries here, as he's gone Nexus first, into a Gateway, into the second pylon, so he can continue to build probes, and then into double gases at the same time. If we were to see an early rush out from Slivko, if he had have chosen to be aggressive himself, like we talked about, if MC had cannon rushed or something along those lines, Slivko would have found himself in a pretty good position. This is a very greedy build from MC.
And Slivko, likewise, just taking actually a little bit more precaution here in this game after the spawning pool. Goes straight into gas so he can get that speed up nice and early to deal with any little pokes that will come out here from MC. And you've always got to be careful, especially against a player like MC, who sent his first Zealot super aggressively over the map in the first place.
Yeah, and he's actually chrono boosting out the first Zealot here, just in case there was anything here. Could easily turn this into aggression, because, like I said, if we are going to see aggression from Slivko, this Zealot's useful. If we see super greed from Slivko, this Zealot's useful. So it's a nice addition to MC's build here to chrono boost out the first one and also get a second one too.
And he does now know that his opponent spawned in this bottom left-hand corner. He sees the Overlord, and this probe, by the power of deduction, figures it out as well. So,
but the Zealot Stalker here, which is what MC's trying to go for, isn't going to be that useful in this game. It's not a super greedy build from Slivko, and it's also not an aggressive one, and he has circling speed on the way. So the 2 Zealots and Stalker, and Mothership Core, I'd imagine, if that's to pop out very shortly from the natural, can go to do a bit of damage, but isn't going to get a lot of damage dealt. There's already 3 Queens, circling speed's not that far away, and of course Slivko can match the units made by building a couple of extra Zerglings himself.
Yeah, these Zerglings actually went in at the best time that they could have after those 2 Zealots had moved out, but they really couldn't get anything done anyway. The probes pulled back, and MC's just covering himself quite nicely. But meanwhile, MC is actually getting aggressive with these 2 Zealots. It's quite cute, this, because he knew where the positioning of the Overlord was down in the bottom right as it was scouting him, so he was trying to kind of avoid through that. But Slivko sent a second one over here as well, which is good base covering here by Slivko.
You could lose an Overlord down here, of course, with a Stalker there.
Yeah, he could.
And the 2 Zealots are going to be matched by 4 Lings and the Queens that are out, or 6 Lings that are on the way, and speed is not too far away from finishing. But if MC gets this Overlord, which it looks like he very well might, it's a good start for him, and gets something from these units, which I would have thought otherwise wouldn't have got that much at all.
Yeah, that's one disadvantage to that. I mean, yes, it did spot the aggression, and yes, it did spot the Zealots, but he loses it in the process. So does that loss count towards a good defense here? In the end, you know, Slivko getting that leg up is going to be okay defending that.
And we have an Oracle being built. From the Stargate, of course, you have the 3 units to choose from: Phoenix, Void Ray, and Oracle. Both have their strengths and weaknesses. Void Ray could be for an attack, it could be for a fast third. Phoenix is for harassment, aggression potentially. But the Oracle, this is a suicide unit. This is, because of its high damage output, it just goes to the mineral line, can kill a Queen, can kill drones. There are no Spore Crawlers that have been made, obviously because there hasn't been a Phoenix been shown. And if this Oracle doesn't get spotted, which it does, just about there, and a great freeze frame there, Claris, really showing us.
As we do have now, the Oracle is on the way, and even if that Overlord didn't actually spot it, a Ling did as well. So he should be in the know, and he's bringing that second Queen back, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and 2 Queens will be able to push this back. But how many drones are going to go down?
Yep. He's already got himself 3 and 4, and he's going to get out of there for a return visit later on, so that's nice.
Yeah. MC's at 3 gateways right now. He's actually adding on quite a lot of units from this point. He definitely could be aggressive. He could take his 3rd. He's throwing down a Forge, which would push us towards the Believe taking a 3rd base very, very shortly here.
And this Oracle's just keeping an eye out in the middle as well. He did see all of these Lings head down here because of the Mothership Core. So MC is going to be nicely defended and set up.
Yeah, he's going to take a 3rd base with the Mothership Core moving down here. A couple of units looking to support a pro build in the Nexus here. And with the Forge looking at increases upgrades as the game goes on, there's no reason for him to build a Forge, then add gateways, then attack, because the Forge is a waste of money at this point, a waste of 150 minerals, because the upgrade would never finish in time if he was looking to be clinical with a strike, with an attack. So the expansion does make a lot of sense here. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Enduring Locust straight away in this game from Slivko. In these positions, you take control and push creep forward towards the middle of the map here. Swarmos are pretty good at just waypointing through the middle. You put a lot of pressure onto that 3rd base from a very early stage.
Yeah, it's a great position to be set up. You've just got to be a little bit wary of that path down to the bottom left, and then Warp Prism going all the way around the other way. Yeah. But realistically,
no, look, he's going to go Pathogen Glance instead of Enduring Locust here.
Wow.
So he's going to be playing Exergling and Roach because he's getting Roach speed in Festa game. But that's going to be confusing from MC, who is going to have to obviously go straight up towards the Robotics Bay. But he's got to keep a good eye. He almost loses the Oracle on what units he sees.
And I think that's one thing that may have prompted the Pathogen Glands, right? After seeing a Void Ray, he's like, maybe you're going to make a lot of Void Rays this game. Pathogen Glands and Fungal Growth, pretty good options against that.
Absolutely.
So Slivko reading into his opponent, seeing what he sees from just one unit alone could help him out here. And Mr. MC obviously transitioning down to that third base. He has the one cannon. Actually didn't even add any gateways there. He felt comfortable enough with that cannon and no huge wall just to establish that with his army.
Yeah. But MC's army composition that he's building towards right now, as we can see in the production tab, Colossus, and obviously Blink and +2 attack. I think MC's favorite upgrade of all time has to be Blink.
Yeah.
So that's what it seems to be aiming towards here. But Zergling Infester, depending on how aggressive MC is, and how defensive and how clean he is with his fights, Zergling Infester with a couple of Roaches is not that good against a lot of Force Fields and Colossus.
Yeah.
Colossus splash damage is great against Zerglings, obviously. Blink Stalk is fantastic against the Roaches. And you can punish any forcement movement out here by Slivko, of course, by blinking aggressively.
You've absolutely got to be so careful about how you take the engagement here as Slivko, who, well, he's adding on the Spire once again, so maybe we'll see him go up to Broodlords.
But Slivko's just doing this because this is what he has planned. He doesn't know what MC's doing at all. And MC's adding on 6 gateways, so it's going to go up to a total of 9. That's a lot of reinforcements he'd be able to build time after time after time. And MC has seen the Infestation Pit, but that's the only thing he's seen. Now with the good spot on the army, Zergling, Roach, Infester, and one can only imagine he'd send the Hallucinated Phoenix towards the Hive soon to see if his opponent's looking to tech up to Hive, which seems to be one of Slivko's favorite things to do, which would prompt the timing by MC. A timing to strike before the Hive units can be used.
Definitely. I mean, especially since he had so many sentries earlier on for the defense anyway. That energy can't really be utilized fully now unless his opponent's going to press him. But Slivko's sitting back. He's being patient. He's getting Swarm Hosts as well to push through the middle here.
Yeah, that's going to help out with any timing that MC goes for. But just 4 Swarm Hosts without Enduring Locust isn't going to be ideal, really, let's say, because it's going to be a couple of Colossus thrown into the mix, Void Rays, and a lot of Stalkers and Force Fields.
Yeah, it's ideally here meant to throw MC off rather than anything. 7 now on the way.
And here's the Hallucinated Phoenixes, which we thought we'd see. And he's going to be looking at, first of all, the army in the middle of the map. Sees, that's not really changing. And then he's going to see a couple of Swarm Hosts, but more importantly, he's going to see the Hive. And with seeing the Hive, and he may get the Greater Spire. Yeah, okay, so sees the Greater Spire too. This must be all right, boys, buckle up. Warp in the reinforcements. It's time to go. And I'm pretty sure in the next couple of seconds here, MC's going to move across.
Yeah, he could happily do so with +2 finishing up. And Blink as well. This is a great opportunity for him to hit against an opponent that, realistically, it's not a very, very tech-heavy focus that we're seeing from Slivko. It's Ling and Roach that are going to melt away without that many upgrades. If he went before 2-2 finished on those Lings, that would be amazing for MC.
Well, MC's having a look. He's found his opponent's 4th base. He's trying to scout again before he makes a decision on what to do. He sees a 4th and a 5th base being taken. He's got a Warp Prison being built, Zealot Charge being researched here. And he's not moving out right now. He is giving Slivko the opportunity to get up towards Broodlords here.
Yeah. Did just notice those Corruptors popping out, so is he going to go? It's the... Because right now this is lining up as if he's... I mean, he's sending Zealots up to the north to go and harass eventually, but all the Zerglings already found one wave of that, and they can probably kill off those if they wanted to. It'd be not the most amazing of trades, but he can clean these up.
All right, so MC isn't going to try to hit a timing here, so he's going to have to fight against Slivko's army, which, with 8 or so Broodlords underneath, even without Enduring Locusts, Locust dealing out a lot of damage underneath Broodlords is going to be very difficult for MC just to blink underneath the Broodlords, which is a more traditional way to deal with them. So he's going to have to focus on Storms, as you can see him being researched and actually warping in a lot of High Templar to be able to clear out the pathway towards the Broodlords. The longer the Broodlords stay in the sky, obviously the more damage is going to be dealt and the worse MC will be overall. But he has a Warp Prison going to the top left, so he's going to start harassing these back bases. But he has to start trying to move forward himself, or at least take a 4th base. One of both have to really happen.
The Stalkers certainly have to be careful about his opponent's army positioning. I figure he's just going to try and assault this with the Blink Stalkers, but he needs an escape route, an escape tactic. With Zerglings there, they could try and trap him in. Blink will happen, and he'll get out of there for now, but he certainly has to be... I mean, this army is coming straight towards him.
This is pretty good, though. Picking off the 5th base is okay, but MC needs a 4th or attack. As mentioned, he throws down the 4th base now. +3 attacks almost finished, too.
The waves of Zealots are never going to stop. Not only up to the north here to try and do some damage, but also straight into the natural. It's that split push tactic that we're seeing from MC come to fruition once again, and he's already killing off plenty of drones.
He's doing so much damage here.
Yeah.
Just the Zealots that walked from one side of the map to the other, to the natural.
Yeah. You could actually just turn around with these Zealots and just target the hatchery and kill that off easy peasy. +3 weapons is about to finish, and that's a big, big difference in damage.
And a couple of extra Stargates too, so he's really going to climb up with his Void Ray count really high.
But, I mean, the Swarm Hosts right now for Slivko haven't really done anything.
Yeah.
It's been a big dead weight committal to him that hasn't really done too much.
Yeah, but MC's playing this out really well. I mean, he's done a lot of damage. He's clearing creep in the middle of the map. I'd assume that we'll see another Warp Prism because he's lost that one quite fast here. Could even go towards the main base, which is rather undefended. He has the Mothership Core with his army, so he can always recall back. He may try to get to this base here with his main army. As you can see, he's marching north. It leaves his own bases very weak. But if he moves now, it may pull Slivko back.
Slivko's actually going for the push, and, well, yeah, he has to pull back. I'm not sure that he can really do anything here. He's going to try and linger with his
because MC can kill this base and recall and then take the fight anyway.
Yeah.
And 3 Void Rays coming in. There's not that many Corruptors to help deal with this. There's 3 Void Rays, about to be 6, 7 Corruptors. The Infestors are going to be important, but there are high Templars for feedbacks.
Slivko's just
MC has to recall here, I'd imagine.
He certainly has to. He needs to save that 3rd base. He has one going up to the left, down to the south as well, but he needs to save what he can. Those Broodlords...
He's not going to save it. He's going to pull his probes.
Yeah.
Where is MC going? That means if he's not going to recall straight away, then he definitely should look to get another base here.
It's like if you recall to that net, well, like
it's too late now.
10 seconds ago, then it would have been a devastating position, but as they would have all been completely vulnerable. Another Colossus going to fall. Slivko is making the most of what he can here.
Yeah.
As he didn't feel that he could engage his opponent's army straight up, or at least MC didn't feel that.
Well, when does MC recall? Is it after this base? Does he go for another one? He's starting to lose all his Nexus, so he's got to make a choice soon when he goes back or not.
And we're into a base trade situation
There are
here.
3 Tempests that are going to be inside the main base. If he times it to go back to the main Nexus with the Tempest popping out, he would obviously then again have a pretty fight against these Broodlords.
He's just rallying them where he can. Infested Terrans are going to kill off this Nexus, and there we go. There's the recall. He needs to turn them fight.
If he wins the fight here, then he's in great shape, but he's lost a lot. Both players are almost non-existent when it comes to the economy. Slivko didn't care about defending.
And these Tempests are going to go to work on this now. It's very hard for Slivko to actually close the gap.
He's got to get some good storms. It's all clumped up.
Very, very clumped up indeed. He actually goes for a lot of feedbacks there and then goes for the storms. How many more Broodlords do we have alive? We have 8 Broodlords alive. He needs to deal with the Corruptors, with those Blink Stalkers, and indeed he will do. Blinks right underneath these to try and bring those down. There's 6 Broodlords actually left over here, but all the Tempests are dying, Sean.
And the 2, 3, 4 Broodlords still left at the back here. Slivko's army is powered through.
Oh, wow. Slivko has crafted this army brilliantly, and it's so formidable. With MC trying to go for the base trade, Slivko knew when to go himself, and is sitting in a prime position.
Slivko's favorite way to win games against Protoss players, Broodlords and Swarm Hosts, and he's made it work here against MC. He had the better army, and MC...
I would never say a bad thing about him in front of him, let's just say that.
But you'd call him a big grizzly bear.
I would call him a big grizzly bear. And then he'd bear hug me and then I would die.
Yeah.
So anyway, all right, spawning down to the south as our red Protoss, representing Global Esports Management, it is MC. And up to the north, we have our blue Zerg, representing Virtus Pro, it's Slivko.
Do you think MC could have recalled earlier in that last map? Let's just think about that for a second. Do you think he could have gone before he left it too late? Or do you think picking off the 3rd base was worth it there for MC?
I think that the way in which he was recalling back, it really felt as if he didn't want to until his Tempests were out, right? So, because he didn't want to leave his army vulnerable to Broodlords, which he couldn't really, he felt he couldn't deal with just Blink Stalkers alone, since there was also the Swarm Hosts as well as Infestors on the ground. So, I think it was going to be a really difficult choice for him either way. You wait for the Tempest, then you lose a lot, or you go before the Tempests and then you try and whittle it down. It's how do you feel about it?
I think he could have picked off the 4th and came back to save his 3rd and played it from there.
Okay.
He already gutted the main and natural. You could have left Slivko on 1 base and then came back to fight on the 3rd, I think.
Yeah,
but he was waiting for Tempest, which really at the end didn't add that much towards it.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how quickly they ended up dying off to the Corruptors. Yeah. They did kill a few Broodlords, yes, but going down from 10 Broodlords existing there to 4 Broodlords existing there, it doesn't really make a whole difference if you don't have any Stalkers left after they were locked down themselves. So yeah, it's kind of tough.
All right, the boss toss, the barbecue toss, the president toss has opened up with the gateway expansion here. And Slivko's gone for a similar build again, just the hatchery first over to the spawning pool here. And whoop-de-doo!
And we rejoin here where we left off. So, as we can already see, Mr. Slivko going for his standard opener. Meanwhile, we have Mr. Minchel going for his standard aggressive opener.
Look at that arm, Chloris.
He's a god. He really is. He's an Adonis.
He's a big guy.
That's impressive.
All right, so we have MC who has made the Zealot here. It's actually the Zealot usually in the majority of Protoss versus Zergs that we see is cancelled, but MC likes to go over there with this. And if you think about that, I mean, he's got the probe over there too, and he actually used them together. He didn't really get too much out there, but he keeps the Zerg honest that he can't just go ahead and take a 3rd immediately. Excuse me, there are a couple of builds where Zerg can take a really fast 3rd hatchery. Even with going hatchery first and spawning pool, they can grab it before they build a queen. And that would kill that. And of course, he can come over here, force a couple more lings out. And he's already killed 1. Slivko didn't do it in game number 1 here. He just left his queens to defend.
Yeah, doing all right for himself so far. Drone, run away, drone.
Squeeze his pass, but he's not mining, more importantly. So,
yeah. So well, it's going to be slightly even here at this point, but still, anything you can get with this Zealot is very, very nice. The probe even going to get away as well. He did a little mineral walk, so good stuff by Mr. MC so far.
Yeah, and then right behind it, Sentry's been made here from MC, and you can only imagine that he'll be wanting to wall off that natural very, very shortly with a couple of production facilities. But Slivko, with the Zergling speed on the way, will be looking to take a 3rd base shortly. He's not mining any more gas. He's starting to increase his mineral count, as you can see to the top right. It's the perfect time for him to look towards taking his 3rd. Same build from MC. So gateway expansion into a fast 2nd gas into 3 gateways. But look at, Slivko's got 18 lings being built.
Whoa, that's quite a lot.
That's a lot of lings.
I don't think he can break that front with that.
But he hasn't seen anything inside the main base here, and he's seen 3 extra gateways. So I think it's a little bit, I would say, a small minor mistake from him here not to spot the gases in the main base, because if he'd seen the gases, he'd realize that maybe he didn't need those 18 links right now, because his drone count's at 25. It's really, really low, and he would be able to recognize that this is the same build that MC did in game number 1, where he wasn't aggressive in the first part of this game. It was later on.
Exactly, and this is why as soon as I saw those 3 gateways, I was like, right, well, time to go and look at the other Overlord that's going to be moving into there to actually see those gases, but he didn't do it. And interestingly enough, that Overlord, once it eventually goes, could see a Twilight Council as well, so he'll have a good read on what his opponent's up to.
The Twilight Council, I'm not too sure what to make of this.
It's a bit weird compared to
I haven't really seen this Twilight Council being used at this point before. With so many sentries. And it's in such an obvious place where an Overlord can spot it. I actually don't really know what this is. Let's find out. Does
he go Dark Templars? It's weird, but
he can't afford it right now, at least. I'm interested to see what he's going to do with this. Blink makes no sense because he's got no Stalkers.
Did he? There we go.
Yeah, Dark Shrine.
It's a little strange because if you were going to go Blink, you'd have like Stalkers like warping in.
Yeah, but this is such an obvious place to be able to scout it. If you see with the Overlord that Slivko has outside them, it's not that far away, but it's very close to seeing this. MC's going to move out soon for his kind of push. And imagine if he gets the attention of Slivko to the 3rd and then swings DTs to the main or natural.
Yeah.
If Slivko sees this, the Overlord, though, it's just not going in. He's not looking what the follow-up is here and could, just through not scouting, really get hurt by this.
And despite game number 1 with his attentiveness to detail, it just hasn't happened here in game number 3 for Slivko. So this one Overlord not moving in there, he's just keeping an eye on Arthas down here. That's all he's going to get. That's all he's really going to see, just the Lich King.
Well, right now, Slivko's just building a lot of units. What has he exactly seen, though? Has he seen the third base come down? Well, he has now.
Yes, he has.
Dark Shrine's finished.
Okay, this is going to get a bit icky.
And he still hasn't gone in to move anything with that Overlord, not even building an Overseer as the layer finishes. 3 DTs. Oh, boy.
And they're going to split themselves across all 3 locations here. So unless he spots a blur or something like that, it's going to be very, very difficult for him to really hold on. He's setting himself up to go and pressure this third base. So maybe he'll get the cancellation with this amount of army here. But if he warped in 1 DT for the defense as well, these units can't actually stick around here. Oh, nice force fields for a second there. Zone outs a lot of these Zerglings. He actually traps a few in with him there, but it doesn't really matter as they will push them away. And meanwhile, as all of this is going on, the Dark Templars are going to work.
There's 4 DTs on the other side of the map.
Yeah, that's a lot of power.
And he's walked in 2 to defend against this.
As long as he... Wow, he's going to lose a lot of his sentries, but as long as he cleans up whilst doing the damage back over there, it's going to be okay.
Even if he loses his third and it gets cancelled, it doesn't really matter. Not from this point. He's killed so many units.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Units. Dark Templars still trying to clean this up. The Nexus, these Dark Templars really, really want to save it. It's going to be so close, actually. Oh,
it
no,
should
these roaches
just
on
get
the
picked
side
off.
get killed, yeah.
And that's fine. You can rebuild that. That's 400 minerals that he lost, but he's killed off a lot of drones.
Yeah, it's 55 workers to 41 right now.
Yeah, so the economy is definitely in favor of MC here. It's not that big of a deal that he lost that. He can very easily just fall back on some more units and rebuild it.
The one slight disadvantage that MC found there is that he, because he didn't kill off any of the bases, there's still a lot of lava available for Slivko to drone back up, but that's a lot of lava that's dedicated to this when, maybe if MC wants to go for a push from here on out with +2 and Blink, he could do something.
Yeah, and even if Slivko tries to be aggressive, the DTs are here to help defend.
Yep. Bit of a tough spot here for Slivko as he looks to just drone and get back up to his desired location. Archon's now warping in. This army packs so much punch, but MC's supply blocked for quite a while now. He doesn't have any pylons in production.
Nope. That's a big supply block.
Yeah, it's continuing on. This is actually very, very long.
Drone count's 57 here. Going to rise up a little bit more again here for Slivko, just adding on a couple. And he's going over towards the Zergling upgrades and the Infestation Pit. And then the Pathogen Glands we can see now being researched. So a very similar style coming out for him once again. Like we saw in the last map, which did lead to his success overall. But this game, I think, is going to be a little bit different. I don't think MC's going to take a couple of scenarios differently if presented the same again.
And this army is becoming a bit strong, quite strong indeed. It's 51 army supply to 40 in favor of MC.
Especially with such a focus on Zerglings here, these Archons, they won't be at the front of the fight.
Yeah.
But the Zealots that are in the front are going to get super aided by these Archons.
It's a really strong army he's built in terms of the quality of it, but 4 Infestors are about to pop for Slivko, so they should be able to buy him time if any poke and prod would actually come along.
Alright, well, he's still building up an army. I wonder if MC does fight, because those Infestors are going to help. The Roaches, though, don't have any upgrades compared to the +2, and with a couple of Immortals in there.
And in the end, that Pathogen Glands finishing at the same time as Blink and things like that is the perfect situation for Slivko. So he's going to be stable here, and once his 4th base gets up and running as well. And it buys also time for him to get those Swarm Hosts out to start pushing pressure on down that pathway.
And also be more defensive too. Swarm Hosts are very good defensively. Without any detection, they deal a lot. The Locusts deal a lot of damage. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Hive start very soon. That seems to be what Slivko likes to do. Set up on Zergling upgrades, obviously going to help really well for the Brood Lords later on, the Broodlings. Go over to Infestors and Roaches and a couple of Swarm Hosts to protect his mid-game, while he looks to go up to Hive towards the Spire, and obviously going towards the Brood Lords. That's what he seemed to do so far, but maybe he's got a different plan in this game. He's going up to a similar Swarm Host count. But MC on this left flank here, it's got a scary army. Supply blocked again 150.
And he's just trying to exploit the immobility of his opponent's army there for a second, as he didn't actually know about this movement out. That was a good fungal to start off this engagement. Second one will chain up with it, but he actually blinks forwards there aggressively to pick off 2 of those Infestors. A really, really nice pick up there by those Stalkers, bringing down those high energy units. And will he be able to continue this on? The Immortals providing a lot of firepower. This could go MC's way, Sean.
And there's Zealots on the right-hand side as well that are harassing that base.
This is a very, very good move here by MC.
Yeah.
Very, very strong indeed. Even blinks forward to kill off some of the swarm hosts, has the detection there available to him, and Slivko is actually just crumbling under this pressure.
Well, he's got a lot of Zerglings and Roaches coming. He's not going to be able to mine from a fourth, which is quite important. He may be able to deal with this army eventually, but that was a strong push there from the boss toss. And then the Warp Prism on the left-hand side going towards the main base, and he's can obviously recall at any point with this Mothership core having that amount of energy, and then all these Stalkers.
Yeah. It's once MC wants to unleash the floodgates, you actually have a very hard time stopping it. If he wanted to and poked him with this Warp Prism,
I think he's going to go to the third on the right-hand side with his army and then use the Warp Prism in the main.
Yeah, and it lines up so nicely with +3 as well. If he warps in a load of Zealots there with +3, they're going to tear through that main base.
Yeah, MC's been focusing very hard on good and solid Warp Prism use over the last couple of weeks, as you can see here again and throughout this series. He's also making the switch up to Colossus, but right now he's going to put pressure and then come into the main base as we see.
Makes it very hard for Slivko, who currently isn't maxed out to make the choices he needs to actually deal with this. Army supplies are very, very similar. That Fungal only landed on a few Stalkers there at the front that will eventually get brought down. And it's no space control here. There's no sentries with force fields, so the Immortals eventually will die, but it's going to be up to MC's great blink control to normally just power on through.
Those League of Legends split pushes that MC's so good at, Kalaris, shining through here in this game, pushing one way, jumping another. And you can see it. Look at it, just powering through.
Yeah, he's done well for himself. And there you go, GG. MC takes the